Hello everybody. As promised, when Chris and I walked through last week and we went through the plumbing, an update on the plumbing, I promised you a sanctuary update, and so we're going to do that today. And so standing in front of me is Elihu Siegman, who is our contractor as well as our architect. And Elihu, if you wouldn't mind taking us through the sanctuary and just give us an update of kind of where we're at.
Great. Hello everybody. I thought we'd take a minute and start out here in the foyer. You're in the foyer just in front of the sanctuary. Basically, we've just kind of cleaned up all the surfaces here. There's a new sheetrock ceiling over top of the old plaster ceiling. What we're going to be putting back is some new lights. We're going to paint and put back the HVAC registers that are the big circular holes in the ceiling, and some fire alarm stuff. And that'll basically restore this back to the way we're going to have it. You can, it's all covered with plastic right now, but you can get a sense of the new framed entry doorway to the sanctuary. You'll see much better on the inside, so we'll just walk inside and have a look at that from the other side.
Thank you.
So if you can imagine, as you recall, this is replacing all the old folding panels that used to be here. This is pretty much ready for glass. The doors are all hung, but it's hard to notice them in some ways. But here we have 5 new pairs of doors. The door all the way on the right when you enter, the one over there, is going to have accessibility hardware on it, so it can be opened automatically with a push button. The other side of it looks essentially like it does on this side. It's all new hardwood, and mostly hardwood, and some veneer plywood, select white oak, which is sort of the predominant material for most of the finishes and furnishings that are about to get completed on the other side of the sanctuary. The last main piece of this, other than staining it, is going to be infilling all of these openings with glass and a little bit of door hardware.
Great, looks beautiful. Thank you so much.
Great. Just going to bring your attention temporarily, I think, to the floor. So, as you all probably remember, the floor has now been completely leveled from one end of the sanctuary to the other. The deeper parts where the divot was somewhere anywhere between 3 and like 12 inches, that is to say the slope before, is infilled with solid framing, 2 layers of plywood sheathing. It's all glued, screwed, and insulated. And I think when you do get a chance to walk on it, you'll have the sense that it's very solid, and you won't even remember that there's any kind of cavity here at all. And we went to great lengths to make sure that it was structurally very stout, and also just to the foot and to the body that it would feel solid, so you don't feel like you're kind of bouncing. And all the feedback we've gotten so far is that a lot of the contractors actually think that there's concrete right under this plywood. There is, but varying degrees deeper than it.
So tell us a little bit about the hearing loop that runs underneath on this floor as well, please, Elihu.
Right, so the hearing loop is going to be the last thing that happens before we put the actual finished flooring down. Combination of LVT, which is a certain kind of a luxury vinyl tile that simulates a wood finish. The hearing loop is part of why we went with that finish, and the rest is going to be carpet. So it's going to be kind of wood in the center section that comports with the center section on the ceiling and all the way down. And then the flanking wings and the strip across the front entry adjacent to the doors is going to be carpet. The hearing loop is going to be cut into this floor to a certain depth, and a wire will be traced all the way around this room and in between, as well as to the wings, and then it'll be covered with a floor. And that hearing loop, as I guess those of you who know, will enable people with hearing aids to receive the sound directly from the microphones, bypassing the sound system, the speaker system, so that they get an immediate and crisp and clear voice that they can hear.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, you can't see it from here, but behind the right side of the sanctuary wall is a new small control room, and that's going to be, I'm sure you've seen all over to the sanctuary a table with a lot of sound equipment, and it's kind of migrated around over the course of the work, but its final home is going to be back there, and the person who's going to produce The live streaming and other related things is going to have ability to see and hear via the cameras and produce all of that from back there. So the sound system, the camera system, the AV, all that is run back there and controlled from back there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. I want to draw your attention briefly to the work that's been happening on these two storage areas and the wings, the flanks of the sanctuary underneath the balconies. They're basically duplicates on each side, but on the other side of this wall is a storage room, as there is on the other. One's going to be primarily dedicated as a kind of a coat room, the one closer to the lobby, and the other one for additional storage of all sorts. The big opening in the wall here is going to be a custom wood grill that is similar to the one in Soroki Hall that you might have noticed off by the old sliding door in there. And these two giant returns are replacing all the little tiny holes that used to be in the floor here underneath the pews, which is how the air used to return back to the HVAC system.
Thank you.
And that louver system was really something that we wanted to replicate because we thought it was a very elegant solution as opposed to just sort of a cheap metal grill. On this side of the wall, on these two spaces and on those two spaces, you can see these receptacles in the wall and these wires. They are so that we can put back the memorial plaques, and we're going to do that on both sides as well.
Thank you.
And then in this cutout, starting at this wall, wrapping this corner and going all the way back to the doors, are going to be the new bookcases. It's also going to have a talit rack and a big drawers for kippot and head coverings and similar things that you need. There's going to be casework down below. These are being fabricated in a shop right now near here. And we just wanted to have this kind of closed up and finished up, and now we're going to be able to get this started. It's going to include a CNC, that's a way of cutting into the wood, a text from the liturgy that's going to enhance the Judaic character of the space. And I've worked with Rabbi Lawrence and his team to decide what that text would be. I'm not going to reveal exactly.
Yeah, we'll keep that as a secret. Thank you.
Let's keep it as a secret, but it's going to kind of be up there, and it's going to be lit up really nicely. So when you come in, you'll have these sort of sanctuary-appropriate quotes from the liturgy. And there's a very long and wonderful tradition of text written or painted or carved into and onto the walls throughout the synagogue history. And so we wanted to pick up on that, but we're doing it more on this end of the sanctuary.
Thank you.
So, of course, you've all know by now that the whole ceiling aspect of the sanctuary has been completed. It happens to be pretty all lit up at the moment. So, you know, that's as it was. Okay.
Do you want to talk to us a little bit about the bima where you're standing in front of right now?
Right. So our primary focus really now is this whole assembly. What you can see now here is basically the entire customized new bima, framed, sheathed, insulated. Everything really has been insulated for sound so that everything feels really strong and solid. I don't even know if you can hear from the echo, but there's very little echo of the foot, even when you stamp it. So the shape of all that is all complete. Every component here is done. What we're doing now is we're adding the layers of finish. The railings is one of those things. The railings just got reinstalled this morning for this lower bima. That includes the ramp railings over here. If you come around here, Barry, you can see how they integrate with the stair railing here. And we'll soon also have the balance of the railings, which are going to be on the other side of the ramp and return up to the upper bima, and there'll be one on that accommodates the two side stairs as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Would you mind ending off and letting us know a little bit about what's happening with the ark, which is currently being covered?
Sure. So the ark is being covered sort of for its own protection, as it has been throughout the project, but it's very shortly going to be coming off. And we're taking the doors down and we're going to refurbish them, because if you had a close look at them before we got started, you'd see that a lot of the little cutout pieces of wood that create the design of the Magen David on top of it have broken off. A lot of them are little odd shaped pieces. So we're going to repair all those, put that paint back the way it was intended to be, and hang them back. And that's pretty much the extent of that work there.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much for sharing this update with us, Elihu. Can you give us an idea of more or less when you think we might be finished with the construction in the sanctuary?
Sure. Well, we think we'll be substantially complete towards the end of the month of February. That means, all the components and pieces would be in place. We'll still be doing maybe some punch list, that is to say, little repairs and things.
All right.
A few words about what else is happening on the bima there and other finishes up here. So there's basically 2 or 3 things. You can see the beginning of the panel system that's going to wrap the upper bima here. This is a sub panel. It's not the finished panel. It's all, again, going to be a select grade of white oak. But it's a similar system. It's a cap and a panel, and that will basically wrap all of this. I don't know if you don't need to turn around and look at it, but there's all of the finished wood treads and risers and all that are going to be going on here next, going up and around the bottoms of these railings, so you don't even see the bases. You're just going to see the railing coming right out of the ground. So very sleek and very elegant. The other furnishing pieces, they're along with this paneling I just mentioned, are the 2 pulpits. They're going to be completely integrated in the paneling, so they look like part of it. Those are all being fabricated off-site and will be starting to be installed next week, as is the treads and risers here. The first installation of this kind of suite of furnishings are these 2 benches. This has been stained and brought back. They were here earlier, if you recall. And this is going to be where the Torah scroll is wound up. If someone needs to have a seat when they're up on the bima, this is be where they'll sit. There are these 2 large drawers underneath of each one that will help with storage. And there's the Torah stands that are built into the top of this panel so that the Torah can be placed this way or facing the other way. And there's going to be sort of a little brace, a little collar that can come up out of the panel and help support the Torah when it's in this position.
Thank you.
And of course, this framing, this scaffolding is not the final table, the reading table, but it's in the same place. So as soon as that comes down, that will probably be the very last and probably the most impressive piece of all of it, because it's going to do so many clever things. The last thing I just wanted to point out to you folks is, as part of closing up the wings and getting those sealed up again, we've closed back up these columns, we've re-insulated them, and they're ready for paint, but already I think you can see how the light is reflected more so through the original stained glass, just with sort of the lighter surfaces. When we paint these 2 ceilings underneath the balconies, I think that'll enhance it even more. And we're going to have new lights like the one in the foyer up underneath the 2 balconies where these existing lights are now. They're going to be retrofitted with the new ones as soon as the paint is done. I think that just about covers it. Thank you very much.
Elihu, thank you so much. We appreciate all the work that you've done. It really looks incredible, and it's so nice to see the sanctuary almost finished and get a really good feel for it. And we look forward to getting another update sometime soon when some of the furnishings come in. And once again, thank you very much for the update.
All right, thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.